Every mind has a breaking point. Welcome to Inside the Mind of the Milwaukee Monster with True Crime Dami. He looked harmless, soft-spoken, polite. To the neighbors, he was just Jeff, a quiet man with odd hours and an empty stare. But in that silence, something dark was growing. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer grew up in a small Midwestern town, polite, curious, and painfully shy. His classmates saw a loner. His teachers saw a quiet child. But inside, he felt something missing. A connection he couldn't explain and couldn't feel. When his parents' marriage began to crumble, so did his sense of control. And for Dahmer, control will become everything. As a teenager, he grew fascinated by anatomy, not in a violent way, more like curiosity gone too far. He'd later describe it as wondering what makes people people. Neighbors would remember him as the boy who walked alone, always quiet, always watching. At 18, Dahmer's loneliness collided with opportunity. He acted on an impulse he didn't understand, one that would mark the beginning of something he could never stop. After that night, there was no going back. He had crossed the line, and in his mind, something broke permanently. For nearly a decade, Dahmer lived a double life. By day, a quiet walker who minded his business. By night, a man trapped inside his own isolation, seeking control in secret. Police were called once, a report filed, then silence. He was polite, calm, and forgettable. The kind of person no one suspects. In 1990, Dahmer moved into apartment 213 at the Oxford Apartments in Milwaukee. It was small, ordinary, and unremarkable, except for one thing. No one ever visited. The building's manager noticed a strange odor. Neighbors complained about odd noises, but Dahmer's calm explanations, spoiled meat, tropical fish, always worked. His neighbor would later recall the strange nights, the power outages, the smell, and the sound of something heavy being moved. But Dahmer was always kind, always smiling. He offered her sandwiches, asked about her family. Evil, it seemed, could be polite. One night, a man escaped from Dahmer's apartment. Terrified and handcuffed, he flagged down two police officers and led them back to apartment 213. The officers knocked. Dahmer opened the door, calm, collected, and polite. But what they saw inside would change everything. Inside that small apartment, detectives found a secret world, one that revealed not just what Dahmer did, but who he truly was. Every story of darkness must eventually face the light. It started with a chance encounter, one that would end a decade of secrecy and reveal a hidden world no one could imagine. Late one summer night in 1991, a young man ran through the streets, handcuffed, terrified, looking for help. Two police officers listened to his story. He led them back to apartment 213. What they found inside would send shockwaves through law enforcement and the nation. Officers entered cautiously, a faint smell, photographs that shouldn't exist, evidence so disturbing that seasoned detectives stood silent. They called for backup. Forensics teams arrived. Soon the entire building was a crime scene. Inside were Polaroids, journals, and objects that mapped the mind of a man driven by control and fear of abandonment. Investigators realized they had uncovered a story unlike any other in modern history. At the station, Jeffrey sat calmly, polite, cooperative. For hours, he spoke in a flat tone, admitting to things detectives could barely write down. He explained everything as if describing a routine. No emotion, no anger, just emptiness. Psychologists would later say his need for control over companionship defined his every act, a desire to never be left alone again. As days passed, detectives worked around the clock. Every room, every object, every photo had to be catalogued. It was methodical, clinical, but haunted by a question that no evidence could answer. Why? In part 2, we go inside the investigation and uncover what drove the Milwaukee Monster. If you found this story chilling, subscribe for more real psychological thrillers. And don't forget to like, share, and comment so that you never miss the deep and darker corners of human nature as we expose them on True Crime Dami.